Have you ever said something like, I get a shower, or I take a message? If you have, don't worry. Many English learners say these things, and it's completely normal. But to a native speaker, those sentences sound a little strange. The interesting thing is that the words get and take are very small and very common, but they appear in so many different situations that they can sometimes feel confusing. The good news is that there is actually a very simple way to understand them. You don't need difficult grammar, and you don't need to memorize long rules. Instead, you only need to understand the feeling behind each word. And once you understand that feeling, you'll start to notice these words everywhere in real English conversations. So, in today's lesson, we're going to explore the real meaning of get and take in everyday English. And by the end of this lesson, these two words will feel much clearer and much more natural to you. Think about this for a moment. Words like get and take are used all the time in English. Native speakers say them every single day. You hear them in conversations, in movies, in podcasts, and in daily life. But many learners feel confused because these words can appear in many different expressions. Maybe you have heard sentences like get home, get a job, or get tired. And then you hear other sentences like take a shower, take a bus, or take a break. At first, it can feel difficult to understand why we use one word instead of the other. But here is the important idea for today. Instead of thinking about grammar rules, we will focus on the simple feeling behind each word. When you understand that feeling, the expressions start to make sense naturally. So, let's begin with the word get. The word get often carries a simple idea. Very often, it means that something comes to you, or that something changes for you. For example, imagine you are waiting for an important message. Maybe you sent a job application yesterday, and today you keep looking at your phone. Suddenly, your phone makes a sound. You check the screen, and there it is. A new message. At that moment, you might say, "Oh, I just got a message." In this situation, the message comes to you. You receive it. That is the feeling of get. Now, imagine another situation. You are finishing work after a long day. You feel tired, and you are thinking about going home. Finally, you leave your office, travel across the city, and arrive at your house. You might say, I get home late today. Here, get has the feeling of arriving somewhere. Let's imagine one more example. Maybe you are working very hard at your job. You study, you practice, and you improve your skills. After some time, your manager gives you a new position. You might say something like, I get a new job opportunity. Again, something comes to you.
You receive something.
So, when you hear the word get, try to remember this simple idea. Often, it means something comes to you, or something becomes different for you. Now, let's look at some everyday situations where native speakers naturally use get. Imagine this situation. You are talking with a friend in the evening. Your friend asks, what time did you get home today? That question feels completely natural in English. We say get home, not take home, because we are talking about arriving. Or, imagine you are feeling a little sick. Maybe the weather changed suddenly, and you did not sleep well. The next morning you say, I think I'm getting sick. In this sentence, getting describes a change. Your condition is changing. Think about another situation. You work hard for many years, and slowly your life improves. One day you might say, I finally get a better job opportunity. Once again, something comes to you. Maybe this has happened to you before. You send a message to a friend and wait for a reply. Later, your phone makes a sound and you say, Oh, I get your message. All of these situations share the same feeling. Something comes to you, or something changes for you. That is the natural feeling behind get. Now think about this situation for a moment. You work all day. You travel through traffic. You walk into your house and finally sit down on the sofa. Which sentence sounds correct? I get home at 7 p.m. or I take home at 7 p.m.
Take a second to think about it.
The correct sentence is get home. We use get because we are talking about arriving somewhere. Now, let's talk about the word take. While get often means something comes to you, take often has a different feeling. It usually describes an action you choose to do, or something you carry or move. Imagine this situation. You finish a long day at work. You arrive at your house, put your bag down, and go to the bathroom. After a long day, you want to relax. So you say, I'm going to take a shower. Here, take describes an action you decide to do. Let's imagine another situation. You wake up in the morning, but you don't feel very well. Maybe you have a headache. You open a small box and take some medicine with water. You might say, I need to take some medicine. Again, you are choosing an action. Now think about transportation. If you travel across the city, you might say, I'll take the bus or I'll take a taxi. In this situation, you're choosing a way to travel. So, when you hear the word take, think about the idea of choosing an action or carrying something. Let's imagine a few more everyday examples. Maybe you are working very hard, and after 2 hours you start to feel tired. Your coworker might say, you should take a break. In this situation, you are choosing to pause your work. Or imagine you're on vacation with your friends. The sunset looks beautiful, and someone says, let's take a photo. That means you are performing the action of capturing the picture. Think about transportation again. When you are late for an appointment, you might decide to take a taxi instead of the bus. All of these situations have the same feeling. You are choosing an action or doing something intentionally. So, let's bring these two ideas together. A simple way to remember the difference is this. Get often means something comes to you, or that something changes for you. Take often means you perform an action, or you choose to do something. For example, you get a message. The message comes to you. You take a photo. You perform the action. You get home. You arrive somewhere. You take a shower. You choose to do an activity. When you think about the feeling behind these words, the difference becomes much easier to understand. Now, let's practice together. Imagine this situation. You feel very tired after work, so you go to the bathroom and have a shower. Do we say get a shower or take a shower? The correct answer is take a shower. Here's another situation. You check your phone and see a new text from your friend. Do we say get a message or take a message? The correct answer is get a message. One more example. You travel all the way across the city and arrive at your house at 9 p.m. Do we say get home or take home? The correct answer is get home. Little by little, your brain will start to recognize these patterns more naturally. So today we explored a very simple but powerful idea. The word get often describes a situation where something comes to you or where something changes for you. The word take often describes an action you choose to do or something you intentionally perform. When you start listening to real English conversations, you will notice these patterns everywhere. You will hear people say get home, get a message, take a break, and take a shower all the time. And the more you listen, the more natural these words will feel. If you want to improve even faster, try listening to this lesson again later. Repetition is very powerful when you are learning a language. Little by little, your English will become more natural, more comfortable, and more confident. And remember, learning a language is not about being perfect. It's about understanding small ideas like this and practicing them again and again in real life. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next lesson.